Hi everyone, it's Jen from Mind's Eye, and we're going to do the holistic review. So let's go ahead and get started right here. And so when we say it, we're going to go right here into everything. And it literally is the Akashic Tarot. Now, as I'm looking at this, it is one of these days where we were watching RFK Jr. being, looked at as far as everything that should go, but reality, these reviews, these hearings of making sure that they're confirmed for new presidential terms, it was all about healthcare today. And so when we look at holistic, and that is how we look at naturopathy, homeopathic, we're looking at Reiki and craniosacral therapy, any other modalities of healing, including chiropractic, on how it fits in everywhere. So when I look at it, it really was a standstill. And last week was a go for it. But in the last 3 to 9 months to 2 to 4 years to almost 19 years, it is an iffy and it is an hearsay to a hearsay to something that just shouldn't be maybe tried yet. And it really is to each his own, and whoever decides to go with it, it really should work in conjunction with your provider. Now, as far as what to look for, you probably should be looking for standards of care, just like a physician. You really should. But with that being said, what is going forward for this community? Because it really is a good community. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing Uriel and the Sphinx in reverse. And there's no hard cut away. There's something so solid that you just can't ignore when it comes to you. I'm seeing a February, and I'm not sure where and what year, but really it has to do with intricacies in industry on what it would really do. It's almost like in a ruin, and it's not like what it should be, but in reality, when you look at it, they're pretty well documented that they can get it done. They literally can get it done with this Queen of Scrolls. The Willow actually shows how much flow through it has and promise each way, no matter what you're doing, even if you're doing sound therapy. It really has been helping with conjunction with everything. Now, when I'm looking at this and I see the Buddha prepares, it is really something of a go forward that I can see that many individuals in politics are saying that anything that you could, as long as it goes through and it's good for you and it works with your doctor, you should try it. But when I'm looking at Archangel Raphael in reverse, it really is a stick and stone also. And it's really not throwing dirt at them at all. But the Queen of Keys says you got to look for the unlock for your own self. And that is always true, but you really should actually do it hard. When I look at this and I look at the lookout and you see how this could be an actual crash and burn if you're not careful. Now, what do we see for the actual week? Now that I see that RFK has really gotten in and they're really looking at it, and it is still Wednesday, the day of his committee hearing, everything is what they would look and they'd say, it's a go. It's a go. It really is. So when I see the loving elementals, I actually see how hard it is, based on lab results on how to do it right. Really to do it right. So when I look at in crescent moon, it really doesn't have to do with any moon phases. You can look at your astrological and your natal charts. I mean, it really does help, especially when you're planning your path of healing. It really does. But when I look at it and I see the Ark of the Covenant, there's something about being safe into the next week. The garden, you could take it at face value, the garden, but you really should be looking about and knowing about on how should be about, especially when it comes to holistic. So lastly, with this one, the treasure, there's really nothing to give or had, but definitely look at everything and anything as something and nothing, especially when you go in and you say, what are contracts and everything like that. This is still a looked-in study when you see Hilarion. All right, so Animal Spirit Oracle. Let's look. There's no rising from the ashes, and I really do feel that you need to watch what you say. When I'm seeing like anything around going into an appointment, but really it's dragonfly. It's the messenger when you say you really need to be watchful and mindful on what you say. Because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing sea serpent, and it's really alluding really hard this energy that you just have to look at your prescriptions first before you do anything. It's even like a harder must going into the next week. When I'm seeing this, the crow and the hummingbird, and this has come out again for me today, that when it's twice like that in the same way, it literally means that it can it can be like bad energy, and it really comes towards you like a friend. So when I'm seeing this and I see octopus, this whole thing about this octopus goes through where you can't even sue anyone. You can't even sue anyone. Octopus is more of like this hard everything going on. You want to make it almost like a reach out when you're looking at it, but this is something of where you say maybe it was true to hunker down for the winter and just use your universal precautions and do what you got to do like you normally do for a little while. It really is up to you. So when I see this, I see the deer, there's no money had. So that is where it's really hard with contracts. And then with actual holistic, with like community hospitals and other bigger businesses that do healthcare. So when I look at this and I see the black egg, there's something hidden in this community that comes out in a 2 to a 9 that you can't understand quick and well, but you can actually say, like, where was this hiding? Because this could have maybe been used a little earlier. I couldn't even believe how, this scorpion in reverse means there's no stand back. There's no like pullback of anything. There's something heard and said, even through the media, that says, I think maybe you should actually do it. When I see gazelle, I actually see it and I go, this is someone that actually sits well and sits pretty and they know what they're doing. You're going to walk into these appointments if it really is meant for you in the next week and you're going to see it. Now, actual psychic, that was just reading the energy. You're going to actually blow apart everything after what has been said. Anyone who's doing a business right now is literally tearing apart their contracts, looking for clauses. So when we look at everything and how President Trump at this time is offering deals about buyouts, it really has to do with unions. It really has to do with IRAs. And if they leave this contract, they can't do anything whatsoever. So when I actually say you might actually look into other things, you have this cosmic egg in reverses. It's a rarity that's stale. When you look at the bat, it is a for the everything. You can't even make it up. How this bat comes out, I can't even almost say it on a true. It is a fly by night of a nun that gets it done. So when you see vulture in reverse, you can't even believe what actually will come out. Everyone actually comes out and watches this. What is going to happen in the holistic community? There's no hunting with this hawk. There's no like glance through whatsoever. All right. Let's look at Literary Witches Oracle. There we go. Right off right here. It has to do with the future. And I feel like at first glance, most are going to say it's a little too futuristic. But in reality, when you see the hedgehog, it comes flying through this opportunity so soon that when you see it, it really is a cornered deal when I'm seeing the spider. So when I see the tree, it is oak. It is everything that it should be. When I'm looking at an oak tree, it really means that everything is okay. It really is, but it's solid. Solid. It has something to do with folklore that actually jumps the gun for this community in a positive way after everything they've been through over the last year. And it has to do about just being humanistic. So when I look at it, these are people who actually showed endurance over this issue of whatever is coming out. So when I see it, it's like grounding. They're very clear. They're very cognizant and coherent. And you can sit there and they're realistic in the moment. It has something to do with also intellect. Intellect is one of those things where you sit down with somebody, and when you sit down with them, it's so pure. Like you can actually like pick each other's brain in a positive way, and you can sit there. But it's saying, as a psychic, even the energy is saying it's meant to be a mystery right now on what this comes through. Now, when I'm seeing community, it's actual community that comes out. I'm also seeing like a co-op actually revamp itself multiple ways so it can actually service their community a little bit harder. It's something that they're so highly devoted to that when you look at the house, you actually have to say, can you work my magic? Can you work your magic? And they're like, there it was. It is already there. Work my magic, work your magic. And then you actually bounce it back. That's actually a gift to some people, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when you look at it, it says, you can't even see it right through. So when I see it, and you go, the braid actually goes through. You can't even be it. It's something about sitting and clearing and cleansing and attuning and getting well together with someone and using everything that they are capable of. And it's something that they people walk in. It's like a patient. It could be chiropractic. It could be anything, and say, my goal for a plan of care actually is this, and it's simplicity, and you can actually just do anything with this type of healing modalities of healing, as I say, alternative. Now there is offering when I see glove again. It has to do with like hard masculine energy. Hi, Space Cowboy. but really it has to do with healing, absolute healing. All right, let's go to Starseed Oracle for this community. Here we are. It's about like coping mechanisms. That's the hardest one. It's about loosening a grip also. It's about density. And then when I hear let God in, it's about letting positive energy come for you, because everyone identifies their source and God as completely different depending on where they align. And that's where it's going to be very solid for the next week for them. But when I see this, it's a learning, it's a new page and a chapter, despite what you might be in political world, as I say. It really is soul growth. They're looking at soul growth in the next year. It's also that it's highly protected. When I'm seeing as it all played out, it really was talking about safety and trust and protection of everyone in the healthcare community and their patients. So when I see this and it says learning, I'm hearing learning, absorbing what is not yours is really hard. So when I do look at it and I say, yeah, it really is hard. There's potential in everything, everything. Now, when I see it, soul gifts and training, it's time to set up. I do see more centers for healing that actually work a little bit more with established physicians, like for DPH or anything like that. But I actually see that when we go forward on it, it is a little bit less, but a lot of people are interested on how it works out. So when I see this, it has to do with anger, a little bit of management of emotions, but also is learning boundaries. That's what a lot of people need right now, and help with that. There's a lot of things going on and everything is getting a little more heinous again. So when I see this, don't worry, time is not running out on something. There's something about also an uprooting of energy of everything about these individuals who are coming through that you just can't understand whatsoever. Here we go. Let's actually look at the numbers, and then we're going to look at the crystal quartz, and that will be it. This one is a kind of in your face with this cardomancy. All right. This one is actually like alluding to actual infection. The King of Clubs is saying that when I had already, I can't even get it out straight, is when you actually come out, you're actually going to want to think of universal precautions really hard, really hard. Because when I see the Four of Diamonds, you can't even see how hard it changed in months. Months. The Nine of Diamonds literally goes, you can't even cut it out. So with that being said, I'm just going to leave it at that. The energy pulled me right back. And when I see the Six of Clubs, it means do everything and anything to keep yourself as healthy as possible. Sure, Space Cowboy, before we close out. She's someone with blondish hair. She is shorter in stature. She's someone who is like an everything and anything and something to nothing. She can do a lot of things. She is someone who will take like good care of you, but she is someone who is not to be taken lightly. And when you see it, you have to actually say, maybe sometimes I could see you saying, just go about and just leave it, because you can already hear it, see it, and feel it if anything comes towards them. It really is a gem. All right. Crystal quartz. What else do we need to know? I'm seeing almost like a faded meeting in some of these places. When you go about and you know about it, you see about it. So when you hear it, you see it, you feel it, it's true. It's really hard to explain that. But when you get these inklings, it's really hard. So when you actually go through society and you actually look through everything, this one is almost like too hard to present itself when someone might come up with concerns with healthcare and they're trying to decide everything down to the daily task of like, what do I cook for dinner? It's really so cut, clear, and dry right now for a lot of people. A lot of people. So, with that being said, that's all I have to say. Any questions or concerns, go ahead and leave a comment or an email. A like and a share is appreciated, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night, everyone.